Welcome to Unforbidden Truth. I'm Andrew. Today I'll be speaking with convicted murderer Tina Munro. Tina Munro, formerly known as James Munro, is convicted of second-degree murder and is serving a 15-year-to-life prison sentence. Tina is the co-defendant of Bill Bonin. Bill Bonin, known as the Freeway Killer, was a notorious serial killer who committed a series of gruesome murders in Southern California during the late 1970s and early 1980s. Bonin, a former truck driver and military man, was convicted of killing at least 14 young men and boys, although some estimates suggest he may have been responsible for more. His victims were often abducted while hitchhiking or walking alone, then sexually assaulted, tortured, and murdered, with many of their bodies discarded near freeways in Los Angeles and Orange County. Bonin's methodical killings, which often involved strangulation and suffocation, were marked by extreme brutality. He was arrested in 1980 after a tip-off led police to him, and in 1981, he was convicted of multiple counts of murder, receiving a death sentence that was carried out by lethal injection in 1996. While Bonin is often viewed as the primary perpetrator of these crimes, he had several accomplices who played varying roles in the murders, including James Munro, now Tina Munro, Gregory Miley, and Vernon Butts. They participated in some of the abductions and helped Bonin with his crimes. The involvement of these co-defendants complicated the legal proceedings as the prosecution had to determine the extent of their culpability. Despite the roles of Miley, Munro, and Butts, Bonin remained the primary figure in the case, and his actions earned him a place in history as one of California's most infamous serial killers. Tina Munro participated in the final murder, which was that of Stephen J. Wells, which Munro received a 15-year-to-life prison sentence for. Here's my interview with convicted murderer Tina Munro.
You have a prepaid call from
Tina Munro.
An incarcerated individual at the Mill Creek State Prison, Ione, California.
When I was born, I was James Michael Munro, and then when I came to prison, I became a transgender, and I changed my name to Tina Marie Munro. And I was actually born in Fürth, Byrn, West Germany, and I was adopted and brought over to the United States by military parents by the name of Lee and Yvonne Munro, and that's how I became under the name of Munro. But when I was born under the name of Michael Massow, Massow, and I was in an orphanage, and I was brought over to the United States, and I had to live in St. Clair, Michigan, until 1979 when I came to California.
Can you recall any positive memories that stick out to you from your childhood?
Yeah, basically, actually, not really. When I was growing up, I mean, I was, being adopted, I was like a stepchild, because I had two sisters, but from the Munro family, but it was just basically they just took care of them. I was like, well, let's feed them, clothe them, and that was it. And then I was forced to go to a special education school until I was 16 years old, and then I quit. Yes.
So you said you didn't have many positive memories growing up. Can you think of any negative memories that stick out to you that are more prominent from your childhood?
Yeah. Well, when I was growing up, my dad used to, beat the hell out of me because he just basically didn't like the way I was behaving because I was hyperactive all the time. I had a lot of issues where I couldn't walk until I was like 8 years old, and I couldn't learn, so I was put in special school. And my mother, Yvonne Munro, she just basically kept slapping me around in my head because I was doing math problems or anything, and she didn't like the answers I was given. She'd slap the hell out of me in the back of my head because she didn't say, "Oh, you're smarter than that, you're smarter than that." And doctors told her and him straight out, "Hey, stop that, because you know what? He's been in special. He's borderline mental retardation, and he can't learn. So you have to treat him as a better child than what you're doing." And all the way to I was 16 years old, it was like I was like a prisoner in my own home. It was like it was a living hell.
So you said your mom and dad were in your life. Were they together throughout your childhood?
Yeah.
How did they get along with each other?
They get along pretty well. Yeah, they got along with no problems, and especially with Connie and Kathy, my two other sisters, which came from that family. So, yeah, they got along well.
Was there any domestic violence in the home at all?
Not from that family, no. Nope.
So you said you had two siblings, two sisters. Were you close with them growing up?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I my little sister. Yeah, I liked her a lot, Connie. When growing up, she reminded me basically. You remember the TV show The Brady Bunch?
Oh yeah. How can I forget?
Okay. Yeah, I grew up watching that. And you remember the little kid, the blonde girl, Cindy?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the way my little sister was. You know, she I was like that. You know. And my older sister, Kathy, she was all right. She was more of a high school brain. You know, she sat there. She would go sit there and like go from like ninth grade all the way to 11th because she was so smart. So, but I did get along with her real well.
So, did you or did any of your sisters suffer any type of childhood abuse or trauma growing up?
Just me.
And was the extent of what you being slapped around and being beat up by your dad?
Right. Yeah. One time I can remember I was riding my bike and I cut across the street and I didn't look both ways, and when I went across the street, a lady hit me with her car, so I got like 8 stitches in my head. I'm laying there on the road bleeding, and my mom come running over to see what happened. Then they called the ambulance and everything, and then she slapped me in the back of my head and said, "Thanks a lot, you little asshole. You cost me $300 for an ambulance ride."
Wow, that's crazy. I'm really sorry to hear that.
That's basically what I had to go through living with that family. Yeah, and their beliefs was you walk a straight line, you don't use drugs, you don't get involved in any gay or any type of any activities. You can't have no friends over. And you have to go by their rules, be in by 8 o'clock at night. So that's the type of lifestyle I had to live. It was rough.
Right. So did CPS ever intervene? Like, did you ever tell anybody at school you were being abused, or did it just go under the radar?
It went under the radar. Yep.
Were you afraid to say
that? Oh, yeah. Yeah, they pretty much kept me in eyeballs, tabs of everywhere I went, and everything. So, yep.
Okay. So did you have any types of hobbies as a child?
Actually, no. I was not really. I just liked watching TV growing up as a kid. Yeah, pretty much. Like, I'd watch, my favorite shows was like MASH, The Monsters, The Addams Family, The Brady Bunch was my favorite of all times. Shows like that.
Did you have many friends growing up as a child?
I did at school when I went to special education school. I had a lot of friends there, but I wasn't allowed to bring them home to the house or anything like that because I was forbidden to have anybody over at the house at all.
And why was that? Did your parents say?
They just didn't, because they didn't like the way they looked or how they act, because they were special education school kids. Some of them had wore helmets and some of them had some serious mental issues, and they looked at them like they were all freaks. And that was sad.
Did your parents ever make fun of your disabilities?
No, actually, no. That's one thing they didn't do. I was surprised. but it was like they didn't want to believe any doctors or anything else. In their eyes, they felt like doctors were always full of shit, that they didn't believe anything, and they didn't believe in going to the doctor for anything, except for one time my sister needed glasses to go to school with, and they bought her glasses. So when I got my eyes tested, there's nothing wrong with your eyes. You don't get glasses. And that's what I went through. I was like, really? Wow, y'all gonna go there like that? So I'm like, God damn, I gotta get the hell out of this house.
So I know you spoke a little bit about this, but can you talk about your behavior growing up at home, like how you behaved as a child?
Well, what I did was basically, I didn't like the way they were, so I had ran away from home like 13 times. And one time I stole my sister's car and drove it to downtown Detroit, which is 45 miles away from my house, so they called the police on me, and I wound up in juvenile hall. I remember that. They wouldn't give me any toys or nothing like that, so what I would do is I'd just steal them in the school and bring them home, or go to the store and start shoplifting. And they didn't like that either, so that's pretty much the behavior I was doing.
So what was your behavior like in school, in the special education school, focusing more on your older years before you dropped out at 16?
Yeah, what they did in that school basically was they tried to teach you a little bit of fundamentals of math and reading and stuff, but if you couldn't comprehend it, they just basically gave you a color book and crayons and or games and let you play games and stuff like that. And that's basically what I did.
So besides running away the 13 times, did you engage in any type of other criminal activity as a juvenile other than stealing the car?
No, never. Not at all. Nope. No. I watched, because when I was growing up, I was forced to watch that. You remember that TV show, Scared Straight?
Oh, yeah.
I had to sit down. I was forced to watch that show. So, yeah, once I saw that, I said, I ain't doing nothing wrong.
So as an adult, prior to the case you're serving time for now, did you engage in any type of criminal activity prior to this case?
No, not at all. One time I got, it was funny because, like, where I'm from in Michigan, jaywalking is where you go diagonal, instead of going straight back and forth, diagonal back and forth. You know how jaywalking is, but when I got to California in '79, they even arrested me for this because I tore up a $5 ticket because the Long Beach Police Department gave me a ticket for the jaywalking. And I said, what the hell? Because I cut across the street. They said it was jaywalking. So I got arrested, and I spent 3 days in LA County Jail for that.
Wow, that's crazy.
I know. So, because I was told, they don't sweat jaywalking, just throw the ticket away. So I threw it away, and I went back home. I came back out about 3 months later, back out, and they had a bench warrant for my arrest, and I spent like 3 days in LA County Jail.
It's been said that you were a male prostitute prior to meeting Bill Bonin. Is there any truth to that?
Oh, yes. Yeah, because I came out in '79, and I wound up in Hollywood. And when I got to Hollywood, I was introduced into that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
If you feel comfortable, can you talk about that lifestyle and how you got into it?
Well, what they did back then was like you'd have the female prostitution going all the way all over the city of Hollywood, and then some areas of Hollywood you had male prostitution, and where you take a young guy, the guy doesn't know what he's doing or anything, and he's one of his friends. He introduced me into it where, hey, you want to make fast money, this is what you have to do. And he explained in detail, saying, what you have to do. So, and you stand at the corner and you get picked up and you go over to that person's house and you perform sexual activities and they pay you money for it. And that's the type of stuff that I had went into.
Okay.
Can you tell me how you met your three co-defendants, Bill Bonin, Gregory Miley, and Vernon Butts?
Well, because I only actually knew Bill. He was the only one that I actually knew. I never met the other ones. I met them in the LA County Jail.
And what was your first impression upon meeting Bill Bonin?
It was like, he was kind of, it was like a person wanting to help people and everything, and you never would believe that he was doing that, because it was, he sees somebody in need, he'd go help them, and then he was like a Dr. Jekyll, Dr. Hyde type individual. It was, he had like a hypnotic way to him. Was
he nice to you? Did he ever like explode on you, like get angry at you or anything for no reason?
No, actually didn't until the night of the crime.
Okay. So did you ever do anything with Bill Bonin sexually prior to the crime that you two committed together?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because he took me to his house, and that's where, when I first met him, and for sure, yes, because of the experience, I sure did. It was oral copulation and then sodomy, yes. Mhm.
And was that consensual or non-consensual?
Oh, sure, it was. Yes, it was all consensual at the time. Yes. Mhm.
Did he ever like bind you, or were you untied during the sexual encounters?
Not at that time, no. Oh no, not at all.
Did Bill ever talk to you about the crimes he had committed prior to the crime that you two had committed together?
Yeah, only thing he had said at that time was he had done every single one of them except for one.
And what was your reaction upon him telling you that he was committing the Freeway murders?
I was in shock because I never even knew who this guy was until that night. I said, because he had started laughing. He goes, "You really did not know who I was?" And I go, "No." And he goes, "Wow." He couldn't put it together. And I go, "No." And he goes, "Well, now I'm going to tell you all about it." And then he told me in detail what that he did them all, and that he had other co-defendants involved and everything. I says, "What the hell?" Yeah, and he goes, "Yeah." So that's what he said. I was surprised.
Okay, so if you're comfortable talking about it, can you share some of the details that he had told you?
Well, because the only thing he didn't go into elaborate details of everyone that he had done. He just went into, basically, he said, "I did them all except for the one, which was Thomas Lundgren, the very first one. Back in, let's see, I think it was August of '79.
So did he ever talk to you about the involvement that Miley and Butts had?
He said, because what he said was, he said Greg had done 2, and Byrne had done 6. But he wouldn't go into elaborate details of. He wouldn't go into elaborate details of which ones he did, which ones he didn't, and all that.
So we're going to get into your crime now. So let's talk about the crime you're in prison for now. You're serving 15 years to life for second-degree murder for the rape and murder of 18-year-old Stephen J. Wells. Is that correct?
Yes.
So can you walk me through everything that led up to the abduction and homicide of Stephen?
Yeah. Okay, let me see. Hold on a minute. Okay, hold on, give me a brief moment. So what happened was I met Bill Bonin May 23rd of 1980. I was being a male prostitute in Hollywood, California. I was selling my body because I had no place to live. I had no money. I had nothing. So I was sitting there wearing the same clothes on my back for months at a time, and I was panhandling to survive out there. So my buddy taught me, he said, you know what, hey, if you want to make some fast money, sell your body to make some money. I says, okay, cool. I will do that as long as it doesn't hurt. And he told me, oh, you just have sex with another male, and they'll pay you big money for it. I said, oh, really? Okay, you know what, I can do that as long as it don't hurt me. So he showed me what I had to do. He says, oral compilation means you suck. You know, I don't know if I can say the words or not.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Oh, he says, look, oral compilation, you suck the guy's dick, he'll pay you $50, $100. If he screws you in the ass, you know what, he'll pay you $200, $300. I said, okay, I'd rather do that. He can screw me in the ass, and now I'll just get the money long. And back then there was no AIDS or no diseases or anything back then in '79. So I said, fuck it, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So I sold my body until I met Bill Bonin. So I was standing in front of, I was trying to find a place to live, so I was standing in front of a place called the Gay Community Center in North Hollywood, California. And a blue Chevette pulls up, and there was a guy about 5'6", chubby, pudgy little guy comes up to me, and he's got a mustache and everything and weird eyes, and I was glued to his eyes because he was like magnetic features on him. I was like, damn, this guy looks good to have sex with, but he had magnetic features. And he goes, hi, I'm Bill. And I go, hi, I'm Jim. And he goes, what are you doing now? I'm trying to find a place to live. And he says, well, you know what? I'm trying to find a roommate for the weekend, and my mom's gone away for a funeral, and I'd like to have you over there. I says, you know what? That's not a bad idea. Okay, I'll do that. You ain't going to hurt me, are you? And he goes, no. He goes, you want a place to stay or not? I go, yeah, I do. He goes, come on. So we get in his blue Chevette, and I didn't know who his last name was Bonin. All I knew was his name was Bill. And he's 32 years old, and his features were all right. And so I get in there, and I go, hey, man, I'm hungry. Can you feed me? And he goes, he got a little bit upset about it. He goes, we'll go down the corner and I'll give you a Subway sandwich. I said, okay, no problem. So we get there, we go inside, order a sandwich, and he goes, hey, you want a job? I go, hell yeah, I want a job. Man, I said, this guy's great. He goes, you know what, I'll give you a job with me driving 18-wheelers. I said, oh, shit, I've always wanted to do that. Hell yeah. So he goes, watch this. So he gets on the phone and he calls his boss, Ed DeLawmer. And he goes, hey, Ed, I got an old Army buddy that came home from the service. He needs a job. Can I bring him in? He goes, yeah, bring him in Monday. I said, okay. Bonin says, okay. And he says, okay, so I'll bring him in Monday. So then he hangs up the phone, and we get in the car, and we drive to his house. He goes, okay, you know what you got to do? I go, yeah, I know. I got to have some sex with you. So I get in his room, and he's got a room with 2 beds in there, and he lived at 10282 Angel Street in the city of Downey. So it was like a rich house. This guy had a nice backyard. It was his room, his mother's room was across the way, and his brother's room was across the way. So it was like a 4-bedroom home. But it was nice. I said, this guy's loaded with money. So I get in there, I perform my sexual acts with him, and then everything's fine. He says, you know what? Hey, how you ever think about coloring your hair blonde? I go, yeah. You know what? Yeah, blondes always have more fun. You know what? I'll do that. So he says, okay. So he takes me to the store. We get some hair dye, and he dyes my hair blonde. And he goes, oh yeah, you look real hot. The 19-year-old kid, no facial hair or body hair. You got blonde hair. Man, I got to show you to all my great gay friends. So I show him. He shows me off to all his gay friends. Look at my toy. Look what I got. Look what I got. Am I doing good?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. So he shows me off his friends and everything for the weekend. So when we go to work, June 1st, the night before the murder, we go there June 1st. We go to Oakland. We get stuck in Oakland, And I'd get mad. I go, God damn, I'm so fucking mad I ain't getting a ride. And he looks at me real funny. He goes, hey, Jim, how would you like to go out, pick up a hitchhiker, have sex with him, and then kill him? I go, yeah, whatever, I'll do it. What the hell? I was joking with the guy. I wasn't serious. And he goes, okay, tomorrow morning we'll do that. I go, yeah, whatever. So I put it out of my mind. The next day, we go to work like normal, and I says, okay, the guy was full of shit. So I put it out of my mind. I said, yeah, I ain't got nothing to do today. We go and do local runs and everything. So at 5 o'clock, we're driving down in the city of Downey. He has his van. He takes that to work. At 5 o'clock, we get out of work. He drives down the road, and he sees a guy hitchhiking, 19-year-old Stephen J. Wells. And he pulls over, and I open the side door, and the guy gets in. And he goes, where are you going? He goes, I'm just going down the street a ways. He goes, okay, we'll give you a ride. And Bill says, hey, I'm Bill, this is Jim. And he goes, oh, I'm Steve. I go, oh, okay. So while we're driving, Bill Bonin says, hey, what do you think of gays? And Steve Wells goes, oh, I'm bisexual, they're okay. He goes, really? He goes, how would you like to come over our house to have sex, or should we come over yours? He says, I'll just go over your guys' house. So I get in the driver's seat. Bonin goes in the back of the van, and he starts oral copulating the guy laying down in the back having sex. And I get lost, so I tell Bonin, I say, hey, I'm lost. So he gets a little mad and gets back up in the vehicle and drives to his house. I don't know where this guy lives. He has a piece of paper showing how to get from the store to his house and everything else, and that's it, because I never knew how to get there. So we get in there to his house. He gives me $5 to go to down the road and get some hamburgers. They go in the house and have sex. While they're in there having sex, I'm going to the store to get some hamburgers. I get pulled over by the Downey Police Department because I don't have a license. They say, hey, take that van back to your house. You don't have a license. I said, well, I got a Michigan license. He goes, that ain't no good here. Take it back to the house. I said, okay, I'll take it back to the house. I go back in there and I tell Bonin, and I says, hey, you know what? The cops stopped me. Where are they? I go, relax. What's going on? He goes, where are they? I said, they're gone. I just asked for my driver's license. Okay, we'll go to the store later. So he goes, okay, I'm going to go have fun. I said, yeah, you guys have fun. I'm going to go in there and watch TV, Happy Days. I go in the living room and watch Happy Days, and he comes out there about 10 minutes later while I'm watching Happy Days. He says, Jim, come here. I want you to show. So I go over to his mother's bedroom, and I'm standing at the door, leaning on the doorway, and he tells Steve, hey, how would you like to make $200? And Steve goes, yeah, how? He goes, I know a guy that likes to have sex with guys that's tied up. He goes, I'll do it. So Bill goes out to the kitchen, gets some rope, goes back in, and hog ties him, and lays him in the hallway. He gets on the phone, and he says, and he plays like he's calling somebody, and then hangs up, and he says, okay, the guy will be right over. So he ties him up, and then once he ties him up, he tells me, go get the guy's pants and bring him into me. I go, okay, whatever. So I go get it, and I bring it to him. And then Stephen Wells goes, hey, this ain't your guys' house, is it? He goes, and Bonin goes, no, we broke into it. He goes, you ain't going to hurt me, are you? He tells Steve Wells, shut up, don't say nothing. Then he goes over and punches him in the chest. I'm standing in the doorway just watching this go down. I go, what the hell? And then he says, okay, well, just do what I say and you're not going to get hurt. He goes, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to knock you out, put your clothes back on you, and put you in a park bench. I said, okay, good. This guy's not going to hurt him. Thank God. Good. So I stand there, and then he takes a T-shirt, and he's sitting there. He takes a T-shirt, puts it around the guy's neck, and he's laying on his belly, and he's twisting it. And the guy's moving a little bit, and he goes, Jim, hold his legs for a minute. I go, why? He goes, just do what I tell you to do. I go, I don't want to do anything wrong. He goes, you're not going to get in trouble. Just do it. I go, all right. So I grab his legs, and I hold it, and then 2 minutes later, the guy ain't moving, and then he takes the T-shirt off, and he says, he ain't moving now. I said, okay, why? And he flips him over, and he's blue. I go, why is he blue? He goes, he's dead. I go, what do you mean he's dead? And I'm looking at him, and he goes, yeah, he's dead. He starts laughing. He goes, he's dead, stupid. I go, well, wake him up, wake him up. He goes, he's dead. Can't you comprehend that? The guy is fucking dead. I go, well, what are you going to do now? He goes, don't worry, you're not going to get in trouble. You didn't do anything wrong. All I want you to do is help me put the body in the van, and I'll get rid of him. I go, okay. Ooh-wee, I don't want to get in trouble, but I'll help you. Okay. So I help him carry him out to the van. It's dark. And we drive all the way over to this guy's house called Vernon Butts. This is the guy that committed 6 murders with this guy. I met this guy. He knocks on the door. We get over there and we knock on the door. He comes to the door with a Darth Vader uniform on. I go, what the fuck is this guy about? And we go inside, and he says, Vern, this is Jim, my new partner, and this is Vern. I go, hi. And I says, hey, this guy ain't going to kill me, is he? He goes, no, he's not going to kill you as long as I'm here. I go, okay. So he goes, well, let me show you what I did. And he opens the cabinet. He's got a whole shitload of ID cards of all the victims that he did. I go, what the fuck is this? And he says, yeah, these are all the ones I killed. I go, all the ones you killed? What are you talking about? He goes, I'll explain it to you later. I go, okay. So he goes, do you want to come with us, dump the body, or just stay here? He goes, Vernon Butt says, I'll just stay here and watch the news. I go, what are you guys talking about? He goes, I'll explain it to you later. I go, okay. So we get in the van, drive all the way from down East Huntington Beach, which is probably 45 miles, go behind a gas station, pull into a closed gas station, and he dumps the body behind the gas station. We get back in the van, go all the way back to the house. By the time we get back to the house, the phone is ringing. He picks it up. It's Vernon Butts. He goes, turn the news on, turn the news on. I go, he's so blonde. It says, turn it on, turn it on. And I turn it on. It says, big headlines. He says, Freeway Killer, Strangler, strikes again, claiming this 45th victim. I go, hey, oh, shit, that's that guy that's going around killing people. Uh-oh. And I turn my head, and I look at him. I go, you're the guy? He goes, starts laughing. He goes, you stupid motherfucker. You really didn't know who I was? I go, no. He goes, I'm the Freeway Killer. I go, oh, my God, don't kill me. Please. I'll do anything you want. I'll do anything you want. He goes, relax. I'm not going to kill you. I go, okay. So we go in there. He's eating hamburger. And he's looking up in the sky. He goes, thanks, Steve. Then he looks down. He goes, thanks, Steve. And looks at me. He starts laughing. He goes, wherever you are. I go, what the hell? So I said, you know what? I want to go to sleep. I want to wake up tomorrow. So he goes, yeah, we got to go to sleep. So tomorrow, the next day, no, go back. That night, he turns the light bulbs off in the house. I jump up and turn it back on. He goes, what's going on? And I says, I think you're going to kill me. He goes, I'll prove to you right now I'm not going to kill you. I go, how? He goes, let me tie you up and show you. I go, all right, but don't hurt me. So he ties me up, and he puts a t-shirt around my neck, and I says, see, I can kill you right now. I says, no, don't. And I start crying. He goes, just let me call my mom and say goodbye to her and before you do it. He goes, he starts laughing. He goes, I tell you what, I'm not going to kill you right now, but if you ever want to call the police, I will. If I can't, my co-defendants will. I go, okay, I won't say nothing. I promise I won't say nothing. So the next day, he gets a newspaper and he walks into the office bragging about what he did. He goes, look, the Freeway Killer killed again. And then once he did that, so we go to work and he's bragging about the newspaper where it says the Freeway Killer strikes again and all that. So he says, Jim, come here. And I go, what? He goes, let's go outside. And he shows me a paper and he says, see? I go, that ain't the guy that you killed last night. He says, yeah, that is. They're not going to put the picture of the one that, a dead person in there. I go, okay. And he goes, hey, look across the street. You see that van that's right there, the white one? I go, yeah. He goes, they're watching us. Those are the cops. I go, what are you going to do? He goes, just act normal and you won't get in trouble. If you get caught, I'll tell him you didn't have nothing to do with it. I go, okay. So I waited. He went on a run, and then I take his car that he had there also, and I stole it. I went back to Michigan, and I hid. So while I'm on the run, escaping from him, he goes out there to Hollywood looking for me again because they're looking in the gay community center trying to find me because I went on the run. So he's asking, he got mad, so he went over there and tried to do another murder on his own again. and he got caught, and that's how he got arrested, which was June. I couldn't leave his side from June 2nd to June 12th. Everywhere he went, I had to be there. He goes, you don't leave my side for nothing. Every run I do, you have to be with me. I go, no problem. And he made me stay there with him the whole time for the 12 days. So that's how everything went down on that case. But I did not know Greg Miley. I knew Vernon Butts, but I never met Greg Miley or what he did. I met him in LA County Jail and Orange County Jail, and then I found out what he did. But I had nothing to do with any of those other murders or anything.
So how much time had passed after the murder of Stephen until you four were arrested?
Bonin got arrested June 13th. He got arrested because he tried to do it on his own. July 31st, I got arrested. I was in Michigan and extradited me, brought me back to California. August 22nd, Greg Miley had got arrested and he was charged. Vernon Butts got arrested July 22nd.
So after you were arrested, were you housed with your co-defendants? And if so, did the four of you have contact with each other throughout the legal proceedings?
No, they wouldn't let it. Nobody get nowhere near any. All of us were in separate housing throughout the whole proceedings until the testimony against Bonin.
Okay. So did you have any contact with Vernon Butts prior to him committing suicide in jail?
I said hi to him once, and that was it. I met him going to court one morning. He said hi. I go hi, and I looked at him. I go, oh yeah, that is that guy. Okay, and that was all I said. That was the only thing I ever said to him, and then I never saw him again.
Did you have any emotional reactions after learning that he had committed suicide?
No, not at all. Because I didn't really know the guy. I just met him that one night, and I really didn't. I just said hi to him, and that was it. I had no feelings or anything towards him because I really did not know the guy.
So you were kept away from other inmates while you were on trial, right? For your safety.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Single-celled. Yeah.
Were you guys threatened by anybody? Like, did anybody be like, I'm going to kill you or anything like that?
Yeah, they did for a while. They had many that tried, but the sheriff's department back then, they pretty much were on their duties as far as that, yes. Yep.
Were you offered any other plea deals while on trial before pleading out to second-degree murder?
No. Not at all, because if it was, I would have damn sure done it, because I had, like I said, I was forced to plead guilty to that. But the thing was because my attorney directly said straight out that, hey, you're going into court to plead guilty tomorrow morning to 15 life, and you're going to testify against Bill Bonin, or I'm going to take these files and put a mainline in and make it you're dead. And I said, oh, whoa. So I was forced to do that, and I did not even know that 15 life meant that you were doing a life sentence. I figured 15 years to life meant I'd do 15 years and I would be released. I had no knowledge, and the courts nor the district attorney's office did not let anybody know that what those sentences really were about.
Do you regret not taking it to trial?
Oh, yes, most definitely. Yeah, most definitely I regret it. Oh, yeah. Yep. So, yep, and so now I sit.
Right. So, after you were convicted of second-degree murder and received your sentence of 15 to life, how did you react emotionally?
Well, I was really upset about it because I did not feel that justice was served right as far as that, because I knew damn well there was no way in hell I was guilty of murder. There was no way I deserved that type of because of not only my emotional background but my educational and mental health wise, because I had seen psychiatrists. I was seeing psychiatrists and everything else, so I was like, come on. And the doctors even ruled there was borderline mental retardation on it, and I could not comprehend. I couldn't even comprehend what was going on in the courtroom. I go, what? Why am I even here? And back then, I couldn't understand it until years later, because I was getting all the education I could throughout all the years that I've done, to better myself. And now I sit here today, and now I can actually honestly say how the justice system is. It's messed up. The society back then took advantage of people that do not have money. They do not have, if you don't have the mental state to comprehend things, it's sad. It is sad. And there's no way in hell I should have done this amount of time for something that I did not do.
So after Gregory Miley was sentenced to 2 life sentences and Bill Bonin received his death sentences, did you have any reaction to that?
I was glad. I was glad because if they did it, then yes, by all means, yes, I was glad that they got justice for what they've done. I have no animosities towards that. I am so glad that they got that.
So years later, after Bill Bonin was finally executed for his role in the murders, did that affect you emotionally in any way, shape, or form?
It was basically a lot of relief for my mind because the drama and the tragedy that I've been through for all the years I've done in prison behind him, how he used me and took advantage of me and put me into a place like this. I was glad that he got justice.
So when Gregory Miley was murdered in prison in 2016, did that affect you in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, because he always had a habit of bragging about what he did, and it was like, dude, you need to quit bragging like you're proud of that something, that you ought to be ashamed of what you did. If because you're the one who did those. I said, come on, I didn't do it. I was forced into it because I was a 19-year-old scared kid at the time. I was very scared, and he took advantage of that situation. But he actually even admitted that he enjoyed it, and I was shocked. I said, that's why I told him, stay the hell away from me.
Do you know the reasons surrounding Miley's murder?
Yeah, what happened was the guy really, he was trying, they have a point system here, basically, where, like, if you're good, all your points are low, and if you misbehave, then your points go up, and he didn't want to be he wanted to stay like a level 3, he didn't want to go to a dorm sitting and all that other crap, so he said, I'll just assault somebody, but it was basically an accident, so he got charged with it. Because he did not mean to do it. It was just that he just wanted to assault him and get more points. He didn't mean to kill the guy.
So what I heard is he was raping his cellmate. Do you know if there's any truth to that or not?
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah.
And do you think that was in retaliation of him raping his cellmate and so he wouldn't stop?
Yes.
So Tina, have you been diagnosed with any mental illnesses prior to coming to prison or since being incarcerated?
Well, no, just mine was anxiety. That's basically about it. But before, no, not at all. The only time when I was growing up as a kid, I was placed in the Pontiac, Clinton Valley State Hospital in Pontiac, Michigan for running away, learning disability, and my parents just couldn't deal with me because I was so hyper. They figured, let the state hospital try to fix something and help them, but that didn't work. I was there from 1976 to 1977. And then that was it.
So how do you spend your time in prison these days?
Basically walk around the yard, listen to music, watch TV. That's pretty much about it. That's all I do. Hoping like hell that, I get, people write to me, I can write to them, get a little bit of support, where they finally hear what happened and get the truth out there, what's going on, and what I did do, what I didn't do, and I get letters and support from the people out there.
So does the prison that you're in now offer any type of rehabilitation classes for prisoners like yourself?
Yeah. Yes, they do. Yeah, they have like anger management. They have stress management. They have quite a few. They have quite a few groups and stuff, and classes and stuff.
Do you take advantage of them?
Oh yes, oh most definitely. I went from like a 3.0 reading level to a 7.7. So I have like a 7th grade learning level right now, and it's taken me all 44 years to get to a 7th grade reading level. But I'm proud of myself because I've accomplished it. So, but I'm still learning.
I'm glad that prison has done some good in a sense to where you've learned how to read and write.
Yes. Yeah, because I'm trying to do everything I can to have positive outlook and have positive programming until I can get the hell out of here.
Right. So how do you feel being involved in one of California's most infamous serial killing cases, dubbed the Freeway Murders?
How do I feel? Oh, I wish to God it never happened. I really do. I wish to God I never met that guy at all. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I got mixed up in this, and it was out of my control. And it was like I felt like every other victim that happened. That he even admitted he was going to kill me at a later time, and he's made death threats against me and everything before I got arrested. And it was like I came so close to becoming a victim myself, and it was horrifying. It was horrifying. And there's not a day that does not go by that I don't think about this.
So do you have remorse for participating in the murder of Stephen Wells?
Yes, I wish to God I could have had. I wanted to tell his mother and father how sorry I am for participating in the activity that I did. I am so sorry. And like I said, if I could, I would go to his gravestone and give flowers on that every single day and rest up and show how sorry I am that happened. And I wish if I could, I'd change places with him so he could have a life out there and be with his family. So, like I said, there's not a day that don't go by that I regret this, and I wish to Almighty God that I could, I could have taken his place instead of him, because I'd rather, me have no family and he could have had a family and lived with his mom and dad. I would love to take his place, to bring him back if I could. That's how sorry I really am. And yeah, it hurts so much. I wish to God this never happened. That man ruined so many lives and took, and he hurt so many people, and I'll never forget what he did. It was like I'm living in a living nightmare because of what he did. And the sex that Bonin had with Stephen Wells was consensual. He was not forced to have no sex. He wasn't raped. It was consensual sex, but it turned bad, and Stephen Wells lost his life because of that statistic, sick person, Bill Bonin. And like I said, society, I wish to God they knew the truth, and hopefully they will now know what happened, that I was not the one who took Stephen Wells' life. Bill Bonin was. And yes, I was there, and I did have a limited role in it, but I am not a killer, and I did not take Stephen Wells' life. I was used, and I was taken advantage of, and I am very sorry for what my role was. Like I said, I am so sorry. And I hope to God, society, every single person out there would write me or text me or do anything they can to show some kind of care or support and say, you know what, I'm with you, I believe you, and I'm sorry this happened. I wish to God people out there would understand that. And I hope to God someday that does happen. Because it's a living hell in here, especially when you get no mail, you get no money, you're using all CDC gives you a bar of soap, no deodorant, no toothpaste, none of that shit, and you eat state food, and it's a living hell. And I have to sit there for a hustle, sit there wash dirty underwears from other people just to survive in prison. People have a bad light, thinking prison is all hunky-dory. If you don't have money, you don't have family, you're in living hell. And I'll tell you, I don't wish anything on anybody out there, and I hope everybody out there hears my statements, and they never ever think about doing something wrong again, so they don't have to come into a place like this. And all that, and also that food that everybody talks about, where the prisons get so much beautiful food and all this. No, we don't. You know, that food is so bad, the shit looks back at you. It's all bad. You have no seasonings in the food. You have low-fat milk. You have water is so dirty here. It's bad in the prisons. You get a hot shower, okay, but you get a 5-minute shower. You have to wear state clothes, and when you wash them, you're wearing somebody else's clothes when they get done washing them. And the medical here, good luck trying to get a real doctor. I mean, you have to play hell trying to get an aspirin. So being in prison, no, we are not getting the proper stuff that we get here. And I am not exaggerating. So now you know the truth of it.
So did Bill Bonin ever tell you why he did these crimes, or do you have a theory why he killed all these people?
He didn't. He even made a statement that he did not want to even go back to prison. He goes, so he didn't want to go back. So he says, "I'll just kill him that way. I know they can't testify against me ever again."
That was to cover up all the rapes?
Yep. Some of them that he had forced. Some of them he didn't.
So let's talk about your transitioning. You recently transitioned from male to female in prison. Tell me about that, starting with why and when you made that decision.
I made that decision because I always knew I was different. I always knew that I was not built right. Something was wrong, because when I was growing up as a kid, I always knew, especially being around my sisters and everything, that I knew that, you know what, no, something's wrong, because I never wanted to even have sexual relationships with women and everything. And I said, you know what, men, they had like a stimuli where I wanted to have fun with them, and I said something's wrong. And then when I turned 18, and I came out to California, and I started having sex with other male. I said, yeah, you know what? Yeah, let me. And I started putting female clothing, garments on. I said, yeah, and I felt more comfortable. I said, no, something is wrong. So I said, yep. And then the doctor saw me about it. When I asked him about it, he says, are you sure you're not transgender? I go, what? Explain to me what transgender is. He says, because you may have female characteristics inside you that want to come out, and you sure portray those a lot, and you've done it all your life. I go, yeah. He goes, you're transgender. And so I started changing out into that program to where, yeah. So now I've already got breast augmentation done. That's already done. And I sat there. Now I'm waiting for complete surgery to be fully female.
Is there anything you would like the public to know about yourself or this case?
I hope that after reviewing or seeing or not, well, whatever this is, that they hear it and see, you know, that what I've talked about, that they have an open mind, have an open heart, and actually see that, you know, hey, I'm not a bad person. You know what? Please be a friend to me. Please open your hearts up. Write to me. I'm not going to ever lie to anybody about what happened. I'm not going to play games with people. You know, friendship means so much to me. I would be honored if somebody would, write me, support me. And if they want to give me a little help, that's fine. If they want to send a couple dollars in, that's fine. They call it, let me see, there's a memo called www.jpay.com. If they want to send a few dollars in as support, all they got to do is go on www.jpay.com, enter my CDC number C44535, and donate some money, and it comes on my prison account. That's what these posters are all about. And if they want to support me by giving me a little help so I can go to a canteen and give myself a little bit of toothpaste, shampoo, deodorants, and stuff like that and live a little bit more comfortable than what I am, by all means. But I'm not begging people to do this. All I wanted people to do is know the truth, what happened, quit judging me for something that I didn't do. I'm not a murderer. I'm not a monster. I'm a human being. I got mixed up in society, and I was, as you just heard my testimony. I hope to God that you believe me, and give me a little support. That's all I ask.
So, before we conclude this interview, is there anything that you'd like to talk about that we haven't covered yet?
Let me see. Not that I can think of.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your time today. I appreciate your honesty. And this case is, I know, plagued California for decades. And I'm glad that you're finally able to get your truth out and speak your mind.
Well, thank you very, very much. And I hope, and I'm asking you to please still stay in contact with me.
Okay.
Now that you've heard my true, full testimony, 1,000%. Yeah, I'm still mixed up over it. I'm sorry for crying. I didn't do this, Andrew. I swear to God, please. I'm begging you, please stay as my friend. And if you can help me, please do. It's bad in here, and I'm sorry for what happened. I'm very sorry. All my family, my mom and dad disowned me, my dad died, and now I got nobody. And it hurts bad. And I'm very honored and grateful that you're my friend. So thank you so much for hopefully believing in me.
That was my interview with convicted murderer Tina Munro. For extra content, ad-free episodes, and more, head on over to patreon.com/unforbiddentruth. If you want to pick up some merch to support the show, head on over to unforbiddentruth.org. Thank you for listening. Catch you on the next one.